Hey everybody, welcome to the Dreamer's Edge podcast.
With Nicholas, I write video game reviews for thedreamersedge.com.
And I am Dimitri, webmaster of thedreamersedge.com and movie and television critic. And first, I want to apologize. We went through another unexpected hiatus, just a couple of weeks this time.
Mistakes happen.
They do, but we've taken some steps so that doesn't happen anymore. We will be on a weekly basis again for the foreseeable future.
Cool.
What we're going to talk about this week is the fact that the major labels, music labels, I should say, have all announced that by the end of 2012, they will stop using the CD altogether. The CD will be dead.
Wow.
Yeah. So I thought there would be a nice bridge for a conversation a little bit about formats, the different formats that we've gone through over the years for movies, games, and music, and talk about where the future lies, I should say.
Yeah. Well, that's crazy though. When I buy music, I like to have it in a hard format, so that if my hard drive crashes, or something, I still have the hard format. I like putting it on the MP3 players or just putting it on my computer, so I don't have to get the CD every time. But I still like to have this hard copy with me, and I like to pay for that thing.
Yeah. When I heard this, my first reaction was sort of to bemoan that. But then my second reaction was to realize that I haven't bought a CD in years. I download legally the MP3s either through iTunes or Amazon or HMV.
Is it because there's no real if you only like a few songs from that artist, or just that you don't feel there's the whole album you want to buy, or is it just more convenient for you?
For certain songs that are hard to find, or like certain albums that have become hard to find.
Yeah.
I want to buy a Dulce Pontes album because I like 3 songs of it. I guess there's a song selection aspect of it too. Like, even if I would be interested in trying all the other songs that comes on the album, it's going to be an imported album because that's a Portuguese band, right?
Yeah.
And that's going to cost me like $27, $28 easily.
That's cheap. That's cheap. I remember once buying Cloud9 from George Harrison.
Yeah.
And it was like, it had to be imported. And if they finally imported it for me, I was like, it's $35.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So I can see the advantage there, yeah, indeed, of downloading.
Especially since a lot of sites now, what they do is they offer you a rebate if you download all the songs from an album. Like, it'll be $1 a song. But if you download the album, which has like 12 songs in it, it'll be like $6 or $8.
Yeah.
Having said that, I will miss having, a pamphlet to look through. I mean, that was sort of part of my musical experience when I was young, You have these singers. In my case, it was like Alanis before she was Alanis Morissette. And I wanted the poster that came with it and all that stuff,
Yeah, I enjoy it as well, the whole album thing. I've never really bought an album because I only wanted 1 or 2 songs. I've never been that way. When I buy an album, it's damn sure because I like the whole thing. But yeah, looking back, like you said, most of the more recent albums I've bought are from Gerdau, or an artist here in Quebec called François Pérusse, where it's a comedy album. And just buying 1 track would make no sense to me. So you pretty much buy the whole thing. But those are really the only albums I've bought for like songs I felt like listening to, like in the 80s. I'm not gonna go buy a Cheap Trick album. That's ridiculous. I'm just gonna get the song I want because I'm really a big fan of the 80s. So to me, that is a lot easier. So, and even in compilations, you're stuck with a bunch of songs you don't want. I really don't want "We Built This City" and it's an all 80s compilation. So you pick and choose and you make your own compilation. So I guess in that way, it is true that I don't buy that many albums.
Yeah, and I think in that aspect, we represent most of the consumers. I think the reason why the labels have given up on it, it's because the consumers have given up on it quite some time ago.
Yeah.
One of the great formats that I have found, though, that might be an interesting alternative to that is those download cards I've seen in stores. You have a little plastic card that looks like a nice little collectibles card. All the cards have the same size and it has a picture of the singer on it and a picture from the album and like some stuff written in the back. And also has a code where you can go log in and download all the songs from that album.
And you can reuse it? Can you use it, or is it just a one-time use card?
I have no idea. I never bought one.
Okay. Because if you can reuse it, that'd be great. Because again, your hard drive crashes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you have your card. You can get it back. But I can see that being a problem though, because it prevents you from passing the card around to all your friends.
Yeah.
So it's probably a one-time use thing.
Although the alternative to that might be, you register under your name, for that service, and then you enter the code.
Yeah.
So then they know who enters what code. And if like two different users are entering that code, that might be an
Yeah,
issue.
that's true. There are ways of working around that. You're right. And you have your still collectible though. It's just the card, and those things tend to end up in the bottom of a drawer, and then all of a sudden you clean one day and it's like, oh, these cards, whatever, and you just throw them away.
You put them like you got to put them in those little plastic bags, like those baseball cards or
Yeah.
comic book cards. Do they still exist? I have no
Yes,
idea.
they do.
In those little pages, turn. It's like, look, I have this album. You come off like a total geek.
Well, it's no better than when you have your giant CD collection and you show it to people and yeah, sure, go rifle through my collection and see how awesome I am. It's kind of the same thing with those cards. Look at all the cards I have.
That's true. And it takes less space, which is sort of what I like about that. Because, well, okay, just from the consumer's point of view, I don't need a 4.5 anymore. I can have a 3.5 because I'm not wasting an entire room on my CD collection. I don't have that many CDs, but I know
Yeah,
people who
but
do.
it's going to be a lot less cumbersome when you only have cards instead of like so many CDs everywhere.
Yeah, with those big CD towers.
Yeah, the towers that are hell to move because you take out the CDs, you leave them in the towers. They're just so annoying to move.
Yeah, and there's a part of you that always resents having to take the CDs out of the tower just to move them and put them in a box. Yeah. So there's always like one move where you'll try to just tape the CDs to the tower and try to transport that. And like I kid you not, like the tower just like fell apart in my arms as I was going down the stairs.
Yeah. Tower gets surprisingly heavy with those CDs, doesn't it?
It was sort of like this weird thing, like where pieces of board fell down the stairs, and then in my hands I held like a scotch tape flower with CDs attached to it, like leaves. It was the weirdest thing.
Wow.
So I don't recommend that. But with cars, you can just carry the binder with you.
Yeah. And it's always a safeguard when your computer crashes, which is my biggest worry because I have lost a lot of information on hard drive crashes. You never think, oh, it's just music. I'm going to make backups of it. But then when you make backups, you're stuck with the CD problem again. You're making CDs of your backups, so you're still stuck with the hundreds of CDs.
Oh no, I keep them on a flash drive. My backup.
Okay.
It's also the thing that I can carry with me as well. It's like if I'm not carrying my laptop, but I'm going away, I'll carry my flash drive. So
that's a good idea. Yeah.
Now, I don't think the backup issue is that bad if you back up, but that does mean that the studios have to relax on their, like, it can only be on one computer devices.
Yeah, that's true.
Terrible.
Yeah. And, please enter the password to listen to this track. Like, are you serious? No. Okay, track 1, enter the password. Track 2, enter another password. You're like, come on.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because the pirated copies don't have that. So you're sort of encouraging people who actually bought your product to go, well, I kind of want the pirate copy so I don't have to do this all the time.
I know. I've got that problem with video games where, it's so hard to have all those cartridges all the way around that, yeah, well, I'll get the ROM and it's so much easier. I like this game and I actually own it, but I'm not going to drag all my video game collection to me when I move. I went to the United States and I went to France and I might go to Copenhagen. But it's another thing with the games, a lot of computer games are pretty much digital download now.
Mm-hmm.
And I again had the mixed feeling of, again, you have your hard drive crashing and it's gone. But, there are a lot of companies like Blizzard. You basically register for the game and you have an account. You don't have to have a bunch of CDs around with you all the time. If your hard drive crashes, that's fine. You just log in, re-download the game, and it's yours. So much more practical because there was always escalation with video games. It started like with one floppy, and then it went to like 10 floppies, and all of a sudden you have the CD.
And it went to 10 CDs.
Exactly, and now you have 1 or 2 DVDs per game. And it's just a matter of time before it goes to like 10 DVDs, and until the next format, and then. So I really enjoy the fact that you can get them, online the way Blizzard does it. It's not just download it, and if your computer crashes, well, we're sorry, but you have to buy it again. No, download it, and you have your account saved with them. So if you need it again, you download it, and very practical.
Yeah, so essentially what you're buying is a license to download.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah, no, I think that's ideal for big computer games for sure.
Yeah.
And I think it's better than what they've been trying to do a lot more. It's cloud, where the game is actually on their server, and you have to log into their server to play the game.
I don't like that. What happens if cloud crashes or cloud there's something that goes belly up? You
Mm-hmm.
paid for that game, you can't play it anymore. Well, what?
Well, what's worse than that? What happens if the company goes belly under, or they're starting to lose money and they're trying to see where they can cut costs, and they realize, well, not enough players are playing that game.
Yeah,
You paid for that game, you can't play it anymore.
that is a problem. And it's a problem I have with Diablo 3 that you're going to pay. You have to be online to play it.
Yeah.
And what happens if Blizzard, goes belly up? It might not happen right now because Blizzard is huge. But if it goes belly up, you can't play the game anymore. At least if you bought it digitally, you have it downloaded, it's yours. Okay, if the company goes belly up, it means you don't have the safety net of being able to re-download it. But being forced to be online to play it, that's something I don't quite like.
But again, we go back to the ideal being to actually have the hard copy, the CDs, with it in some fashion.
But CDs are not as great as people think they are with video games because the companies are really trying to cut down on pirating.
Yeah.
So they add those very malicious software on the CDs that install themselves as you install the game, and it's very hard to get rid of them. And they do all kinds of stuff to your computer just to make sure that you can only get it once, and you can't copy it to somebody else. The amount of crap that these CDs install on your computer is insane.
Yeah, I know we've moved on, but I'm just going to come back to it just for a few. But like music, Universal Records, there was a time where they did the same thing, where like when you try to rip the CD onto your computer, it would like install all kinds of mad software, and like it was even worse than that because like as soon as you tried to play it, it would install all of that mad software. It was a big deal at the time, where I had just taken a habit of connecting my computer to my CD player and just record it from there because I just didn't want any of that crap on my computer.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's one thing I really check before buying a game. You can get a lot of feedbacks on the internet of, what does this game install on my computer in addition to the game? And I've skipped out on a lot of games I wanted to play because, no, I don't want that crap on my computer.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the digital download with a license is great as long as the company doesn't go belly up. And you basically have to kind of, cross your fingers and hope it doesn't happen.
But couldn't the company technically do the same thing with the digital download?
I guess it's true. I guess it's just a matter of trust.
Hmm.
Like I know for Blizzard, digital download of World of Warcraft, you have to be online to play it because it's an online role playing game. So you're forced to be online, so that's fine. They're trying to do the pirate thing for Diablo 3, and I'm less fine with that. I'm hoping that eventually they'll say, okay, you don't have to be online anymore. The game has run its course, so they release a patch, and that patch you can play offline.
Mm.
That is what I'm thinking should happen, and I'm kind of crossing my fingers. Hope happens.
Hope aside, though, just sort of realistically, do you think that's something that they might go for, or do you think it's very unlikely?
It's something that they're going to go for, and they're going to have to, because if not, somebody else will. I mean, the young people out there that love games, they had online role-playing games that they loved and that are defunct now, and they're basically backwards re-engineering them so that they can play them. So if Blizzard doesn't do it, somebody else will. Blizzard might as well eventually do it and have it done the right way.
It's interesting. Let's talk about the movies for a second, because oddly I feel like completely the opposite way about movies than I do about music and the way you do about games. I want the hard copy at all costs for movies.
Really?
Yeah. I do not like this whole download to own initiative that they're trying to get us started with. I certainly don't like the streaming initiative that they've been going for.
Oh, streaming is bad.
Yeah.
I mean, your internet hits a glitch, and all of a sudden, in the middle of the movie, like buffering, that kind of kills the movie experience for me.
Yeah.
Right there. But download to own, I don't think it's there yet. The burning process is still so annoying. You're having to burn DVDs and stuff like that. When the technology is a little better, and we have like flash drives, say for example, that you can plug into your DVD player, and you have the same thing, I'd be more open to that. But we're not there yet, I think.
But that's what they have now. Western Digital essentially has a hard drive that can play videos on your TV.
Okay.
That's what they have. So For download to own, that's exactly what they're looking at. You download it onto that hard drive, and it's there as your copy, and that thing serves as both your home entertainment system and your library.
Okay. What happens when that machine crashes, though?
I know that's sort of a big issue for me.
Yeah, that's why you need the technology to put them on, reliable flash drives. Say for example, you come up with movie flash drives. It fits one movie per flash drive, and you just plug it in the machine, and you download it, and then you have your flash drive, kind of like the cards we were talking about for music.
Right.
And this little flash drive, in case say this is Predator, for example, and you save it somewhere. It's a lot smarter than a DVD, a lot less cumbersome, and that would work for me. But I don't think that's available right now.
No, and I don't think that's even where they're going. I think with the success of Netflix,
Yeah.
all of the movie studios are all going like, ooh, streaming, because everybody's into that.
Yeah.
In fact, that's what happened with Netflix. Is like a lot of studios just sort of removed their collection from Netflix because they want to start their own thing. And it's sort of like now to watch TV through streaming and movies through streaming, you got to get like 16 subscriptions to different studios right now is where it's headed, which to me is ridiculous. But it's also, people are not thinking this through. I mean, it comes from the United States where unlimited bandwidth is sort of the standard.
Yeah.
But in other countries, it's not.
I know.
And we're in Canada, and like for me, people who get Netflix and all of that is like you're completely insane. Because you're paying twice. You're paying once to stream the thing, and once for the bandwidth to stream.
Yeah. We're still lucky because we pay like monthly for internet. I mean, I've had friends who moved to other countries and they couldn't play World of Warcraft anymore because they had to pay the internet per minute.
Oh.
So imagine that. That model doesn't work for all the countries. It works for the United States, and that's close to pretty much it.
Yeah. And eventually they're going to run out of server space to offer unlimited bandwidth. Eventually they're going to start charging for bandwidth.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm all for net neutrality and everything, but it's a dream, seriously. Eventually, there's not an unlimited amount of bandwidth out there. And as more and more people use it, it's going to become, so much more restricted.
Absolutely.
The tubes are going to get clogged.
And also worry about the company no longer offering that movie. What if they just like, okay, well, nobody's streaming this movie on a regular basis. I'm just going to remove it. And it's like, well, you just, like, as a consumer who liked this movie, you just paid for nothing. You just lost it.
Exactly.
The other alternative we were talking about, though, is download to own, which I think is where they're headed, and I'm not excited about it, but I think consumers are excited enough about it that it might actually turn out to work.
Okay, yeah.
Again, the advantages of it save space, but it, like you said, the backup is an issue. And with music, I can back up my entire collection of music on, 1 or 2 flash drives.
Yeah.
With movies, that's not going to happen.
It's 1 movie per flash drive, roughly, and even then, like the lower resolution movies on the bigger flash drives.
Yeah,
is how it works now. So if you're going to like high def. And, all the special features and everything, the flash drives aren't even there yet.
And also, I like having the cover. And I have liking the box. And I think people do like that. That's why Lord of the Rings gets away with, like, selling a different version of the same bloody movie. Where it's like, it's not like even like Star Wars, where it's like, I added 30 seconds of footage. It's like they don't even, it's just a new box.
Yeah.
And people keep buying it.
Well, yeah, they have to get something newer to get, catch the eye, I'm going to put a hologram, I'm going to put, yeah. So, yeah, it's true. And yeah, if it's all download to own, you're gonna lose that.
Yeah, which is too bad. It's part of the experience for me. I like popping the disc in. I like looking at the box and going like, "Look, the pretty picture."
You wouldn't be fine with popping like a flash drive in a machine and saying, kind of the same thing.
Well, the flash drive is not too bad because you can actually decorate the flash drive.
Yeah.
You can put the flash drive in a box.
I guess, yeah.
That would be fine, but it's really the download to own thing.
Okay.
You can't do that.
All right.
But there is environmental concerns about it. I understand download to own would be theoretically better for the environment, not as much transportation.
Yeah, that's true.
But now that you have the DVD distribution online where they just mail it to you, that's actually sort of evolving into something very interesting. There's 2 TV shows I can think of. One of them is 10 Things I Hate About You, the series, not the awful movie, but the TV series.
Yeah.
And the Matthew Perry TV show from last year called Mr. Sunshine.
Okay.
Both cult hits, but that did not really engage a wide audience. But it did engage an audience that sort of I wanted on home video.
Okay.
Now, what they've decided to do is print on demand. You can order a DVD, they'll print it, and they'll mail it to you.
Oh, that's cool.
But they only print as much as they need. Speaking of environment and cost effectiveness, that's great.
Yeah.
You know?
You're not stuck with like hundreds of unsold DVDs that, okay, now we have to, the stores have to bring them back, then we have to destroy them or recycle them or bury them in the Nevada desert like they did for the ET game cartridges, much better.
Yeah. Just as an aside, okay, so I've been mentioning the word DVD a lot, and that's because I have not converted to Blu-ray.
Okay.
Because I don't believe in Blu-ray. But before I get into that, like, how do you feel about the DVD versus Blu-ray thing? Because HD DVD lost to Blu-ray because pornography went with Blu-ray.
Okay.
The same thing that happened with Beta and VHS a few decades before.
Yeah. How I feel? I don't see the difference.
You don't?
You would pop a DVD or you would pop a Blu-ray. I could not tell you the difference. Awesome. Maybe if you could play them one next to another, on the same TV, maybe I would see. But right now, the limiting factors for me and for most of my friends is the TV.
Right.
And not everybody has converted to HD. And even you get an HD TV, the DVDs are going to look fine. They're going to look great. I don't see the difference. I don't see why they used to allow themselves to charge you $10 extra for the same thing. It looks exactly the same to me. Now the prices are kind of more like the same because I guess Blu-ray is not selling that well.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, I felt it was a ripoff.
I will say that I see the difference, but I don't see it as a good thing. Is a weird thing. I do have the HD TV, so it's easier for me to see the difference.
Okay.
But here's the thing that people often forget about Blu-ray. A Blu-ray on a TV actually has a pixel capacity that's higher than one in a theater. It's higher than film.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you get a really good TV, which most people don't, but if you do, you could have a quality of image that's clearer, crisper, more defined than film. But here's the thing about film. Film at some point had Maxi-Vision as an option, and then other options as well. Such as filming digitally as well.
Yeah. And
filming from TV cameras as well. All of which actually allow a better, crisper image on film. And most filmmakers ended up having to reject it because it looked ugly.
Really?
When you watch a movie on film, you'll notice that the image is a little bit fuzzy. Just a little bit. It has that sort of dreamlike effect to it.
Yeah.
That's part of the experience. That's part of what allows your mind to sort of not freak out.
Okay.
They tried with Maxi-Vision, where it's like, it's instead of 24, it's 48 frames per second.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's insane. And people watch it. A lot of people went like, "Wow, the image is so much clearer." But a lot of people went like, "This is giving me a headache," because it's sort of hyper reality at that point.
Wow.
Aren't we sort of ignoring the lessons learned by going into higher and higher definition?
That's an interesting point. I mean, I saw no problem with DVDs. DVDs were a huge step up from VHS.
Oh yeah.
And I had no problem changing all my VHS to DVDs. But now, this is new format, Blu-ray now. Change your DVDs to Blu-ray. No.
I see the difference. And part of me, first of all, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, isn't it crisper? It's like, yeah, but it's the same freaking story. Like, I don't really care that much. And for action movies, there have been people who have complained about Blu-ray, such as the Blu-ray for Spider-Man 3, where the transfer, because again, it's filmed on film, which is of a lower resolution, and then put into a format with a higher resolution, so they sort of had to clean it up for the Blu-ray. And where they didn't do it well, so that the background wasn't blurry enough for the eye to identify it as background, so it looked like everything was in the foreground.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the Spider-Man 3 Blu-ray, I think they redid it to sort of fix that, but when it first came out, that was one of the big issues. Like, it's all these little things where it's like, oh, we can have this great higher definition if you pay an extra $10, but when you're going to see it, we will have to not use that higher definition so that your mind doesn't freak out.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, then I'll buy the cheap DVD, thank you very much.
Yeah. Are they planning on getting rid of DVDs? or
No, not at all. I mean,
Okay.
it's nothing announced on that level, and frankly, it's still selling better than Blu-ray, so I don't see it happening.
Yeah. No, I foresee Blu-ray failing. Really, they're going to come up with the next generation, and people are going to switch to that one.
All right, that's a lot of serious talk today, isn't
Yeah,
it? Yeah.
indeed.
So let's try to lighten things up, and we got our typical little top three thing. And since we've been talking about different formats, we felt that a good top three would be the top three formats that are major fails.
Yes.
I'll start us off with my number three pick for a format that was a fail. Now, I know I've talked a lot about music and games and video, but this one is actually a format for books, which we didn't address.
Yeah.
But the whole tablet thing with the whole downloading of the books thing,
Yeah.
I can see how it could be useful for, guides and whatnot, because guides, that means you get the search functionality, which suddenly
Yeah.
becomes mighty useful and all of that. But like for novels and all of that, I do not see the point to that.
But people love their Kindle.
They do.
And honestly, I don't get it either. I mean, the book and the Kindle cost the same, or the thing you download cost the same, and you can accidentally erase stuff on your Kindle. Again, it comes back to books aren't that bad. I think the argument they say is that you can carry like 2,000 books on your Kindle. But, on a subway trip from here to there, I'm not going to read 2,000 books.
Yeah, well, even on vacation, you're at the beach, you're near the water, you're near a bunch of strangers, you might want to take a dip in the ocean at some point, yeah?
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Leave your Kindle or alone there? Somebody's going to steal that for sure. Now, I'll leave my book there? I don't have to give a damn.
That's true. Well, if it gets stolen, you won't know what happened in the end there.
And then there's the environmental argument. The books with the transportation, they're heavy, they're big, they take a lot of space with bookstores and whatnot. And that's a good point. But here's the thing. The book is made out of paper. Paper is a renewable resource.
Yeah.
You plant more trees, you get more paper.
Yeah, now they're actually, farms for trees. So, they're not going to the virgin forest and cutting it down. That was in the past. Now, they try and predict the demand, and there's going to be more demand for paper. We're going to plant more trees. That's how it works. It's not, destroying virgin forest for books. It's like, no, that's not how it works.
The thing with your Kindle is that it's made out of plastic and various metals, and, plastic is made of petroleum, which is not renewable, and which its non-renewability is the source of many a war.
Yes.
In this world. So, just throwing it out there if you're going to throw the big, we're saving the earth argument for the Kindle.
And don't forget, the metal in there, the copper. Copper is like at a real premium, and prices are going to get higher and higher for copper.
That's true.
Because it's getting, the electronics age is crazy, and we're running out of copper. So you really need that little, gizmo to read the book that's taking out precious copper, or can't you just use paper?
Yeah, exactly. Petroleum and copper, which are two non-renewable resources of which we are starting to lack.
Yeah.
All right, that's my number three pick. What's yours, number three pick?
Number three, cassette tapes for computers. Maybe back in the time of the Commodore and everything, that was great because it held more than the floppy.
Right.
But I mean, in astronomy, they're still using those for data. When you go to a telescope and you have your observing night, they give you a tape with all the info. And it was like, well, this is the 21st century. Could we probably you burn us a DVD or something? I mean, this is ridiculous.
There's something wrong when these big. What we imagine as laymen, for me, you're not a layman, but I am, as these big high-tech things where people are sort of like defining new scientific concepts and finding new discoveries, that they're using the same thing that I used as a kid on my TRS-80.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was shocked the first time, it was like, and then they give you the tape, and I was like, what's this? Did you make me a mixtape while I was observing on the telescope? All right, so where's your number two?
My number two format that is a fail is Laserdisc.
Wow.
Now, picture this if you might. It's a very thin red pizza box, and you need 6 pizzas to play Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles the movie. Time to change the disc.
Oh yeah, time to change the disc. That's the best part about it, When you lose comfort, when you used to just sitting there and okay, you put the cassette in and it plays the whole thing. And now you have to get up every 40 minutes. It's a step backwards, even though the sound quality, the sound and the image might look better. When you're asking people to do more work, it's a step backwards, whether you think it is or not.
All right, what's your number two pick for format that is a fail?
Zip drives.
Oh, yes.
For those who don't know, those came out roughly at the same times that CD burners came out, and they were like kind of the next evolution of floppy disks, where you had the 5.5 floppy disk, then the 3.5-inch floppy, and then the zip drive was supposed to be the next one, where you could put like maybe 100 megabytes, I think, on a zip drive.
Oh my god, 100 megabytes?
Yeah, as opposed to 700 megabytes on the CD that you could burn.
And the zip drive reader was actually more expensive than the CD burner?
Yeah.
Which was hilarious.
It was confusing too because it's the zip drive, but zipping a file also existed back then, which is just compressing it so it's smaller. So what's a zip drive? Does it compress what's happening there?
Yeah, no, I actually always wondered that myself. I thought there was a connection between the two.
And there's none.
Yay, confusing.
Good job. So with that, what is your number one?
My number one pick, I am going in maybe a slightly different direction, but the worst format for keeping information, in my opinion, is the palm of my hand. I would like to ask all the girls who meet me to stop writing their phone numbers on my hand, because here's the thing. It really, really never happened to me when I was a teenager or in my formative years for dating. So when it happens to me now, I get pretty excited and pretty nervous and sweaty. Clammy hands happen and I lose the information.
I have friends who they're at their house and they need to go out and buy stuff at the store, and they would write the stuff on their arm. Like, you have paper right here. Don't you want to use this paper instead of your arm? It's just weird. The writing on the body thing is something I don't get at all.
There's this sort of thing where it's sexy and cool related to it,
Yeah.
Like if somebody else is writing on your arm, I can understand why that would be sexy. Like, I'm not.
Yeah, I could get the phone number thing. Yeah, okay.
I'm a writer. I always have a block of paper on me.
Yeah.
Always. I never travel without it. And I often get the paper out and already they're writing on it. And I'm supposed to go like, wow, that's cool. But the first thing I do is just transcribe it before I lose it.
Yeah.
And I always feel like if they catch me, they're going to be super insulted, All right, what's your number one pick for worst format?
Microfilm.
Oh my god.
And people think, oh, microfilm is a thing of the past. But no, I mean, I did my PhD thesis, and I had to pay like $100+ to have it put on microfilm. I don't know why. Maybe they're expecting a nuclear attack and like all the hard drives are going to be erased by the EM pulse, and my thesis needs to survive this, so that's why we have microfilm.
Paper would also survive an EM pulse. Like, why don't you just press print?
Paper can be eaten by insects, I guess.
Like, can't you put it in like a plastic sheet? Because that's what I do with my paper. I put it in a plastic sheet when I want to keep it.
I don't know. As the ASU library or all the libraries that require microfilm for thesis, I don't know why they think it's a great format. I guess it's tradition again, but it's ridiculous and it's really expensive. And I don't know why I had to pay for that. If you guys want to save it on microfilm, fine. You pay for it. Okay, I'll give you a flash drive with my thesis on it. I'm going to have to pay the flash drive like $1 at Best Buy. You can have that. If you want to make a microfilm of it, that's fine with me. I'm not paying for it.
Because the chemical for films are incredibly expensive.
Yeah.
Microfilm is... Well, all types of film are super expensive to make.
Yeah.
And to my knowledge, it's more delicate than paper.
Yes, it is. And you need a specialized machine to read it too. So I never bought that as like... And, the old professors, oh, you have to because that's the way it's done. But, come on. You seriously...
Do you think, like, back in the back of their minds, they all have that James Bond fantasy in them, Like, Sean Connery did it with microfilm. I'm using microfilm. I'm like James Bond. I suppose if you keep it in a big vault, it will survive a nuclear holocaust.
Yeah.
Do they keep it in a big vault?
I think so.
Okay, well, at least there's that.
Yeah.
Do they keep the machine reading it in the vault as well?
I don't know.
Because if they don't, there's a flaw in their system.
And even if there's a nuclear holocaust, I don't think that people are going to care about short-lived nuclide injection in the solar system, okay? They're not going to care about that. They're going to care about food and water.
Yeah, but not immediately, I suppose.
Yeah, but still, I mean... It's ridiculous. Maybe they can eat the microfilm. That's why they keep it.
I am reading a Neringer Award-worthy paper. Rah, rah,
Yeah.
rah.
Yeah, no, that made me kind of very resentful of ASU, but then I learned it's everywhere. You're like, come on, get with the times, guys.
You gave us two examples this week. It is shocking to me that the scientific fields are so down on technology.
I know.
All right, on that note, that's our episode. If you have any questions, comment, please write us at mail@thedreamersedge.com or post a comment at thedreamersedge.com. We're also on Facebook. We're also on Twitter. And we are also on microfilm. So if you ever want to have
a copy of this for the Holocaust.
the nuclear holocaust.
Yeah, not, oh God.
Whoa. Just, whoa.
Yo.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Dreamer's Edge podcast.
With Nicholas, I write video game reviews for thedreamersedge.com.
And I am Dimitri, webmaster of thedreamersedge.com and movie and television critic. And first, I want to apologize. We went through another unexpected hiatus, just a couple of weeks this time.
Mistakes happen.
They do, but we've taken some steps so that doesn't happen anymore. We will be on a weekly basis again for the foreseeable future.
Cool.
What we're going to talk about this week is the fact that the major labels, music labels, I should say, have all dollars.
Yeah.
Having said that, I will miss having, a pamphlet to look through. I mean, that was sort of part of my musical experience when I was young, You have these singers. In my case, it was like Alanis before she was Alanis Morissette. And I wanted the poster that came with it and all that stuff,
Yeah. I enjoy it as well, the whole album thing. I've never really bought an album because I only wanted one or two songs. I've never been that way. When I buy an album, it's damn sure because I like the whole thing. But yeah, looking back, like you said, most of the more recent albums I've bought are from Gerdal, or an artist here in Quebec called François Pérusse, where it's a comedy album. And just buying one.
Like, even if I would be interested in trying all the other songs that comes on the album, it's going to be an imported album because that's a Portuguese band, right?
Yeah.
And that's going to cost me like $27, $28 easily.
That's cheap. That's cheap. I remember once buying Cloud9 from George Harrison.
Yeah.
And it was like, it had to be imported. And if they finally imported it for me, I was like, it's $35.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So I can see the advantage there, indeed, of downloading.
Especially since a lot of sites now, what they do is they offer you a rebate if you download all the songs from an album. Like, it'll be $1 a song. But if you download the album, which has like 12 songs in it, it'll be like 6 or 8. I'll announce that by the end of 2012, they will stop using the CD altogether. The CD will be dead.
Wow.
Yeah. So I thought there would be a nice bridge for a conversation a little bit about formats, the different formats that we've gone through over the years for movies, games, and music, and talk about where the future lies, I should say.
Yeah. Well, that's crazy, though. When I buy like music, I like to have it in a hard format, so that if my hard drive crashes, or something, I still have the hard format. I like putting it on the MP3 players or just putting it on my computer, so I don't have to get the CD every time. But I still like to have this hard copy with me, and I like to pay for that thing.
Yeah. When I heard this, my first reaction was sort of to bemoan that. But then my second reaction was to realize that I haven't bought a CD in years. I download legally the MP3s either through iTunes or Amazon or HMV.
Is it because there's no real if you only like a few songs from that artist, or just that you don't feel there's the whole album you want to buy, or is it just more convenient for you?
For certain songs that are hard to find, or like certain albums that have become hard to find.
Yeah.
Like I want to buy a Dulce Pontes album because I like 3 songs of it. I guess there's a song selection aspect of it too.